Okay, let's do this, people. Okay, the post-it notes have spoken. On this little episode, we're going to be reading for Aries. I like doing all this stuff totally random because it keeps everything super fresh. Alright, here we go. This post-it has lived its life and it's going to post-it heaven. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. It's been wonderful. Now, as you know, some of you, we've already been recording for a few signs already, and they're already on the channel, so you can access them there. I think it was a Gemini, a Leo, and a Sagittarius, and now we're heading over to Aries. So there's obviously an emphasis on fire here, folks, for whatever reason. Anyway, let's just kind of jump right in. What I'm going to do first, of course, is play around. Hello, Linda. I just saw you. Hello, hello, hello. It's okay. You'll get yours eventually, Linda. Don't worry. Okay. No, it's not really a raffle, but anyway. Hello, Nikki. Hi, Linda. Hello, Kiss JG. Hello, Love Triber. Thank you for being here. It's very comforting knowing that you guys are here. Hello, Gregory. Thank you so much, too. So let's have a look. Let's see what's going on. First of all, let me get out the Astrodoodles. Like we did before. I'll put this over here. Give me a second. This is generic for the whole month for everybody, and I'm just cherry picking a few key dates. There's a lot of stuff on here. I'm just focusing on the yellow highlights for now, okay? Yeah. Hi, Linda. Thank you for the support. So we start off November with a bang because we're actually vibing through with the Scorpio new moon at the very tippy end of October on the 28th. So it takes a bit of time for the new moon to pick up, like the crest of a wave starting to build, okay? But it was a big one because there was a big stellium there in Scorpio. So be aware, dear November crowd, there's a big surge of Scorpio energy at the beginning of the month, okay? So that, hello Megastar, I see you. So towards the middle of the month, of course, we're going to reach kind of a crescendo as the wave peaks and crests. We have the full moon in Taurus opposing the Scorpio sun energy on the November 12th, okay? Plus a lot of other stuff going on, etc., etc. And then we scroll through another 2 weeks of all sorts of wacky ups and downs. There is a Mercury retrograde, of course, right at the beginning for the first 3 weeks. And then we have some scary stuff a little bit where Mars is opposing Uranus and things like that. So, you know, it's a bit choppy. Then things shift more towards the end. The sun is moving into Sagittarius, okay, around the 22nd. And that leads us into the new moon in Sagittarius on the 26th. And then there's a humongous Capricorn stellium cluster at the very tippy end on the 30th. And that's kind of foretelling us about what's happening in January 2020. It's interesting. On the 1st of the month, the moon is in Capricorn. On the 30th of the month, the moon is in Capricorn. So it feels to me like the whole month is encapsulated with this large Capricorn blanket. Okay? Hello, Megastar. I think I said hello. Yes. All right, let's go straight over to the Aries chart. Should be right here. No, it's right at the other end. Okay, so I'll just pull it out and we'll just rearrange everything for you guys, dear Aries. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. This is just an Astrodoodle. It's not a real chart. It's just Tarot Lumination doing an interpretation. Let's call it an impression. Okay? Hello, Path. I see you. Go Aries. So this is the Aries Astrodoodle for November. So let's get to the basics. Okay, there's a new moon. Okay? There's actually 2 new moons, the way I see it. Because right at the very tippy end of October, right over here, October 28, 29, 30, and all of that, we had that big Scorpio stellium, okay? And Mercury retrograde is just starting there. So the beginning of November could be a little bit shaky for some people. For you, Aries, it's happening in your 8th house of joint resources, deep, profound spiritual connections with a significant other at the gut, soul level. This is like let's say you're already married or something, what's it like actually being in bed with this person where you're sleeping together, you've got your joint bank accounts, joint savings accounts, you've got your mortgages in each other's name, you're making babies. These are the kind of things that you can only do at the level of Scorpionic 8th house energy, okay? It's deep soul integration, genetic merger, and it transforms everything. New life is formed, okay? So you start off the month right over here, heavy duty energy. So you might be feeling, I don't know, a little bit unnerved about, wait, what's happening with my relationships at the soul level here? But don't worry, things are going to shift quickly, okay? 2 weeks later, we're going to come up here to the full moon, okay? The full moon is going to be in Taurus, and it's going to be around the 12th, okay, of November. And so that's hitting you also in one of the money houses and the value houses. So this axis here, Aries, is really important for you in the early parts of the month. Okay? And there might be some serious misunderstandings, or you might also see it as an opportunity to sort out things that don't make sense for you when you go through the Mercury retrograde period for this time zone over here. And you might feel that what has to be sorted out is happening in the context of a very significant relationship. Maybe with a bank, a person, your job, an employer, a loved one, a child, something like that, where your sense of value and worth might be coming into question here. How much are you valued by the other? How much does the other value you? Is it a mutually beneficial relationship? Are you both very valuable to each other, or do you actually undermine each other's value? It's really important to understand that. Also, with the Uranus energy over here, there could be disruptions, okay? So add disruptions and destabilizing, liberating events mixed with transformational events. Please allow your whole sense of things like money, value systems, skills, talents, resources, physical resources that you have in this life to go through some kind of like convulsive changes and rearrangements. And it'll make more sense to you, dear Sagittarius, when you get towards the end of the month, when finally we get something that's nice for you, when we have the new moon in Sagittarius, okay? The sun will already be here, okay, around the 22nd, okay? But the real event picks up on the 26th when we have the Sagittarius new moon, which is very sweet and strong and harmonious for you, okay? And that's going to expand your sense of vitality, adventure, and spirit. It'll get you out of this bizarre, weird, navel-gazing kind of funk energy over here for the first few weeks. And throughout the whole month, like I was talking about earlier, we have this Capricorn blanket covering the whole time. All the way from November the 1st, all the way to November 30th, there's a cluster here. It's setting up here in your 10th house of career, destiny, mission, and purpose. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing here on this planet? Well, obviously with all this energy in Capricorn, it's transformational, serious reality check police energies hanging around with you, really kind of like putting a very firm but loving, caring arm or hand on your shoulder, making sure that you are doing what you have to do, being who you really are and how you have to be in this world. And that could involve radical shifts and changes at the very guts and souls of your being because of the Saturn-Pluto alignment here. And this pressure is going to build up for you, Aries, in your career sector, your destiny, your mission, and your purpose, okay? So please allow for that. If you're feeling a lot of pressure on you and your world in terms of why you are here on this planet and what are you supposed to do and ways that you can be in charge. Remember, this is Capricorn rules your 10th house of destiny and career. So you have to kind of think and feel like a Capricorn. Think long term, doing something really useful, really important, and where you can feel appreciated and understood, and where you get to express and execute your skills and talents in a way that benefits the world, okay? That's how I'm interpreting it, all right? So, that's your Astrodoodle overview. We're going to go straight into some cards now, okay? I'm going to start off with the Tarot Lumination miniature love and relationship spread, because it's such an important factor of our lives. Some of the most important healing aspects of our lives can occur in the context of a relationship. So that's why I use this spread. We're going to use the crucible spread. It's just a miniature one, okay? But it still packs a punch. And it's on the understanding that there's you, Aries, a significant other in your life, okay? You and another, and a third entity, the relationship itself, which you guys own. This is not a couples reading. It's all about you, Aries. But we're including your co-star or co-stars, whoever it is, a loved one, a spouse, a bitter enemy, someone who's passed over, someone who is being born, like a parent, something very significant, a business partner, whatever that might be. You will know, Aries, okay? And then we're going to look at the nature of the relationship itself. There's you, the other, and the relationship. And a relationship is a living thing, even though you can't actually touch it. It has an energy field and an identity and actually an astrological profile of its own, which is not yours, it's not theirs, it's its own thing. So it's really handy to be aware of that. So you're not just living life on autopilot, and you're just a bag of, let's say, reflexes and limbic system actions and reactions, operating from hormones and conditioning from childhood, all of those kinds of things. Instead, you are a fully conscious being making really tough decisions as necessary in order to be your most authentic self. Okay? Thank you, Path. So let's do this. I'll show you in a moment. This is the crucible spread. Okay? Cards were well shuffled in advance, but I love to go to the last second so that you're a witness. My voice is very fragile at the moment because I've been doing all these reports, and we still have a lot of reports to do. So please be understanding of this. Thank you. Here we go. I'm breaking it up in a very extreme way because I want a very crystal pure reading for you. Let's have a look. Here, this would be you. Think of yourself like a smartphone, constantly transmitting and receiving energy in voice mode. Energy in, energy out, simultaneously. Same with the other over here. And over here at the core, the relationship itself. And you can see already that this would be like the crucible. This is the shape here. This is the bowl in which the relationship lives, okay? It's a bowl like this, and it's a very important bowl. So what is the nature of the bowl? Is it leaky, fragile, broken, solid, flexible, healthy? And what is growing here? Think of it like a potted plant, okay? What is growing out of this? And then you are surrounded by energy, just like all the rest of us. Think of it as the weather. I think of it as the planets in particular, but it could be your circumstances, home, family, school, college, your heritage, whatever it might be. Think of it as weather. So we have the 10 of Pentacles here. Right, I think this is relating very much to the Capricorn energy that we talked about in your astrodoodle. I think that this is a hint over here from your invisible friends that they want you to realize that this aspect of your life is really, really important right now. It's not really part of the November reading in like the normal formal sense. You could say this is more to do with January, but we're building up to it. We're already having a huge like supercluster stellium of Capricorn energy here well before January. So to me it looks like a message to do with wealth, money, finance, understanding, abundance, and what it takes to create that in your life, in your world. In other words, let's look at the value things over here as well. You see this aspect here? You see this axis? This is the money aspect. This is the value aspect, the values aspect. So part of the message is like your invisible friends want you to know that you are incredibly lucky in some ways, but they also want you to know that you cannot take it for granted. Every day it really helps to have some affirmations to yourself and remind yourself how lucky you are, like a gratitude journal or something like that. So you can be very aware of how abundant that you are and what are you going to do with your wealth. your skills, your talents, your resources, especially in joint resources where you are the boss essentially, but have to align yourself with very, very, let's say, significant people in your life so that you can maximize and optimize your wealth. You know, some people for that, some people that's a marriage or a business or some kind of like a business deal or a contract or something, which turns into wealth. And then what you have is maintaining the wealth and the structure and the abundance that you have for the long term. In other words, this is hard earned. In other words, Aries, all the abundance that you have in life right now, of which you are very consciously and gratefully aware, it comes through hard work, okay? And you deserve to enjoy the benefits of it. In other words, it's okay to be successful and abundant and optimize yourself. In other words, to do something where you are appreciated and rewarded and understood at this level, at the Ten of Pentacles, which is optimal, okay? So, also you could extend this to family. When we're talking about love here, the Ten of Pentacles can relate to evidence of love. Somewhere in your life, in your world, in a certain relationship, in a family dynamic somewhere, there is evidence of great love. Who that is, where that is, it's somewhere there, okay? I'm not going to try and define who that is, but in your life there is somebody, okay? And they're with you in that. They're very supportive of you, okay? What are you radiating here, okay? However, with the Hermit energy, this feels very, let's say, at odds with the Ten of Pentacles over here. My feeling is that there's a part of you which doesn't get it, because it's a question of how do you actually measure the wealth that you have. From the Tarot Lumination perspective, most wealth is internal. It almost doesn't matter, whether you have like a huge mansion and 3 cars, or whether you are living in a mobile home or whatever. Wealth is internal. And so my feeling is that you might be really puzzling the actual concept and meaning of wealth in your life as you are learning it in the context of a significant relationship or certain significant relationships, where the only way to really understand is almost to segregate yourself, almost isolate yourself deliberately so that you can get a perspective on what we're actually talking about here. Because I think there's some kind of lesson going on with this in terms of the definition of wealth. How do you define, what does real wealth and abundance mean for you now in your life going forward? It's there for you, but my feeling is that with the Capricorns stuff and the Scorpio energy, there's going to be huge, very slow, almost like convulsive, unpredictable changes in how wealth is defined. And this is not about being lonely. This is very much about learning about the self, discovering selfhood at much deeper levels than before. And this could be very profoundly satisfying for you. And the only way it could happen is in the context of relationship, where you get to have this experience. You couldn't have this experience without being in a relationship. What about the other? Okay? Okay, so to me there's a double message here with the Judgment card. Part of it is that you're with someone who is, there's somebody in your life who's very, very concerned about your emancipation, your freedom, your liberation from whatever limited perspectives or understandings you had about your own wealth, your family, your value systems, and the structures of all of that. And they are helping you to emancipate yourself from everything and anything that doesn't work, or that is obsolete or redundant, or is now something you are growing out of it. You as the individual are maturing and growing out of this, and what would feel like you as seeking your own path, okay? And at the same time, there's the same energy of people and significant others in your life, in your world, who in some way, they already understand you. They might not be able to put it or articulate this in words, but they want your freedom. They want you to be emancipated. They want you to be free and happy and unchained from anything that constitutes suffering for you or limitations in terms of your wealth and abundance that's never had a chance to manifest. So I'm actually really happy to see this. It also looks very fated to me. When I see these as both major arcana here, it feels to me like you're going through a little chapter in your life, an episode, on the November journey here, heading into the December journey and the January journey, where the relationship dynamics might feel almost like divinely ordained between you and another, maybe certain significant others who are all on your side. Everybody here is on your side. They want you to be free of whatever's not working for you. They want you to be happy, wealthy, and abundant in your life and to become the individual that you really, really are, okay? How that works for them is not your problem, okay? The real intention here is a very deeply loving message of emancipation, okay? And it could be multiple people here in your world, your loved ones, your family, whoever it might be, they're on your side. What about at the core here? Okay, so with the Five of Wands at the core here, you might not, what this is telling me that in some ways you might not be used to looking at your life in this way, or having to do such deep self-examination, or having to go through such profound pressures of change. There's a tremendous pressure to change from here. There's a tremendous pressure to change from here. This will give you the optimism and spirit that you need to get through these changes. But the reality is that these transformations over here and the profound shifts and transformations over here are kind of life-changing over the long term. And so, but it's happening at a very deep soul level. So it could be very hard to, let's say, understand or articulate. And so what's happening is, it feels to me that in a relationship setting, it's actually quite challenging for you, but it's also quite satisfying, because it's almost like you've got two energies working against each other and for each other. In other words, whatever it is from which you are being liberated and released and being encouraged to tap into your true strength, your true talents, your true values, and understand that you are really loved and fully supported by your family and your people. You're not used to thinking or being or living this way. None of this might not make any sense to you at all, because we're dealing with this at a very profound, deep soul, spiritual level. And so the relationship might be challenging. In other words, to actually live through this is, in some ways, it's invigorating. And it's almost like the relationship dynamics that you have with certain individuals it's almost like they're specifically set up and fated, almost like you had set this up as a game before you incarnated here, where you knew where you had to go through these really huge, profound, transformational shifts in life and emancipation of self as reflected back to you by significant others, okay? And so it might be a struggle for you, but it's also very rewarding. You will grow stronger and stronger and stronger from this, and you will get the support that you need. The relationship is actually, it's kind of as though the relationship is its own living thing here, and it's actually on your side, and it wants you to succeed. And it's, you know how I talk about the crucible being this structure in which we intimate and separate. There's a lot of intimacy and separation, intimacy and separation, but it's not in a simplistic, let's say, like a romance novel type of way. This is at a very deep soul level, which you would not be used to in day-to-day life. And so you might feel it as though there's you just being you, Aries, and there's the other people being who they are. It might feel it sometimes as pressure, okay? In other words, what in a super idealized scenario, the love would match the love and everything would be super fuzzy and warm and happy. But the love that's coming from here, from your loved ones, might feel like pressure onto you, okay? Even though there's no intention of harm, it's actually for your benefit. And so you might feel like a bit of a squeeze, okay? Let's have a look. Oh, okay. So my feeling here is the way to look at it is treat it almost like a movie where you step back a little bit and think of it as everything is divinely ordained, and you might as well just live through the process, the role, the journey, like you're in a movie of your own life, and it is revealed to you, especially in this little reading, that each character involved over here, whoever they are, multiple characters perhaps, they are all on board with you. Every single one of them is on board with you in your journey towards becoming more and more singular. Okay, Aries is already a very singular sign, but we never stop evolving and growing. We're taking this to the next level. And what it looks to me, the way I feel it here, is that what's happening, this is a deep soulmate connection type of situation where there are multiple characters involved who have all committed and signed on in some kind of spiritual soul agreement before you were ever incarnated in this lifetime, all for the purpose of aiding you in your emancipation, your liberation, as that energy is coming. This is like a gift coming at you. I don't see this as someone trying to escape or liberate themselves from you. It's very much like a team effort, and everybody in the team, all your people, your home, your family, your loved ones, they all value you very deeply, and they only want what is best for you. And they understand you are going through a struggle. They understand that it's difficult for you, but they are here, and you will recognize through their actions, through their deeply loving actions, because with these pentacles and a love relationship, it's love is as love does. So there's a lot of loving action out here and energy and support for you, and they are all in some way or another like characters in a movie where at the end of the Shakespearean play they all take off their masks and you realize, oh my God, each one of you is a deep soulmate from a previous lifetime, and you have loved me before. I love you so, so much in return. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay? So that's what I'm sensing here for you, Aries. I hope this helps in some way. Okay? You are protected, okay? Don't worry, Aries. You're going to be fine. It just might be a very strange month for you with this storyline here, the way it's unfolding. But I see it as really beautiful. Okay, I'm going to put this aside. You notice that I didn't really, lean too heavily on the romantic aspects. I'm coming at it from a very big, broad perspective. Hold on, I want to check in with you guys. I forgot to do that. Stay there, dear Aries. Hello, Aries. Hi. Hello, this is Lumination. I was planning to introduce the show earlier, but anyway, we're here now. We just did the first segment. We did the Astrodoodle thing, and I used that as a kind of a backdrop for the first chunk of your reading with relationship. We have 2 more chunks to go. The next piece is going to be a situational spread, which is sort of like a diagnostics. Like, what do we need to know now? Okay. It's like, what is the key? There is some kind of key theme, story, ingredient. Like when you're watching, like I like to watch Netflix. You have to imagine you have to write everything about what is happening in a few sentences. Okay, we have to nail this thing, figure out what it is, where we're starting, where we're going, and where we end up. Okay, so you'll see it in a moment when we do the spread. Hey JGF, I see you too. I see you, Path. So over here, let's do this. This is the same spread they use in Washington, D.C. Doesn't matter who the president is. And that's just how things work here at Lumination. As you know, I have a direct hotline with the president's situational room. Well, I'm not supposed to disclose that. That's actually super top secret, but that's how it is. Yeah. And, every time if they need one of these readings, I'm always there. I keep my smartphone by my bed. I have my pen by my bed, and I'm ready to go. The only time it doesn't work is when I have my phone in airplane mode, and then they just have to wait. And that's all there is to it. Hello, Evil's Dog 88. Devil's Dog, we're doing Aries monthly report for November. Okay? Thanks for dropping by. This is like a diagnostic tool. I just want to get to the heart of a matter if there's some significant, poignant issue that we really need to be aware of so that you don't get hijacked or stumble or trip over during November. Cards are well shuffled in advance. Let's bless this deck. Bless every single card. Bless you guys, Aries. Bless the whole channel, the cameras, the electricity, the light, and the platform itself. Okay, I'm breaking this up. A very extreme cut. Here we go. Here's the situation. Here's what we need to be aware of. Here's the challenges. And here's how we're going to handle it. Okay? Let's have a look at the weather surrounding this. Okay, we have the Nine of Swords. So my feeling is that you are... I'm going to relate it back to this thing over here with the relationship spread and with the astrodoodle over here. This Nine of Swords, I feel, is like an accumulation of energy that's probably been backed up for years and years and years and years. And because of what's happening on a global scale with the huge collective energy, the planets the way they are for everybody, okay, including Aries, you just happen to be having an experience where the planets are lining up in some pretty, let's say, challenging aspects for you, okay, on the 2nd, 8th house here. And a lot of pressure up here on your sense of destiny, meaning and purpose, okay? So whenever we have a lot of pressure up here at the very, very tippity top of the house, it can make us feel very, very frightened that we are not on track with our mission, our meaning, our purpose in life. In other words, why am I here? And that can trigger a deep sense of profound fear. Like, oh my gosh, life is much more complicated than I thought. I thought that life was this, this, and this, and you realize it's so much more. And then you can be, it's almost like you can be terrified of your own shadow. You can be so terrified, like, you know how fear can feed on itself. It turns into paranoia, and fear can breed sickness. And my feeling is that we need to be aware of this, that you could very easily be in like a vortex of stress and stuff as things come to the surface. Through the November journey, especially the early parts. When you get to the end of November and the Sagittarius energy kicks in, I think things are going to be much more lighthearted and full of relief for you. But for the bulk of the month, I feel like you're going to be surrounded almost like mirror image reflections of from circumstances and events around you. In other words, what the story that we talked about over here might feel to you as very, very stressful, like multiple little layers of different stressors that are coming up as you process and identify all the things that don't work and how you're going to liberate yourself and move forward, because everybody wants you to be free and liberated from this. Nobody wants to see you suffer, Aries, but you've got to reveal it to heal it. So my feeling is that we're going through an incremental healing event here through November, where in a very kind of awkward, perhaps uncomfortable way, a lot of stressors are being revealed, and you are witnessing them around you, and you could feel that as anxiety, multiple versions of it, anything and everything to do with fear that impedes you or blocks your emancipation, your liberation of self, and your sense of mission and purpose in this life. Let's have a look over here. What's the situation itself? Okay, so with the Six of Wands here, my feeling is that deep down you know you can handle it and that you will prevail. You are Aries after all, okay? You will prevail. It's almost like that's your day job, is to succeed, is to win, okay? And to be the one out front who does sometimes almost like what no one else wants to do. Like someone has to take the bold risks and go into the unknown, and just to prove that it can be done, and sometimes just to yourself, okay? And so you might have loaded yourself up like with a soul mission in this lifetime to take care of a huge number of issues and matters that you've never really solved or healed before, but this is the lifetime where you're going to do it, and you're just going to pick them off one by one, and each one you're going to say, ha, got you, ha, I got you, got you, okay? So I think it's not war, it's just you healing yourself. It's just you becoming stronger and stronger by removing the obstacles to your abundance, your destiny, okay? That's how we evolve and grow. It's like, in other words, you don't have to kill these things. It's more like understanding what they are and applying the healing power of love to each one of these factors, whether it is a person, a situation, an attitude, a belief, a concept, conditioning from childhood, or endless repeated fear and paranoia, which, is what this is. That feeds on itself to the point where all you know is fear and paranoia, and you're driven by fear and paranoia, which you know is not acceptable. Okay, so you're going to deal with it because you know that you have to. It's almost like a fated event. So what are the challenges with this? Okay, the challenges, the way I feel it here with the Lover's card, is having to make really profound decisions, almost like life-changing decisions that are going to impact yourself and others, and it's reciprocal, okay? And it goes very deep to the soul. I'm not just talking about inconveniences. I'm talking about really profound decisions making, and I think that's going to happen here through this alignment between the 2nd and 8th house, the energies of value and values, value systems between self and other, and a very significant other, in terms of like how you share your life with a significant other and how they share their life with you. And then being in a situation, in order to get done what has to be done, having to make really profound, important decisions, which could be life-changing. But either way, it's still liberating. It's all ultimately for your good, and everybody knows that. It's almost like everyone is around you and they love you, and they know that you're going through this phase right now, and it almost doesn't matter what decisions that you make. They're going to love you anyway. Okay, that's how it appears here. What's the challenge with this? It's very hard. This is a very, very hard placement for such a card. Being placed in having to make really, really tough decisions about relationship dynamics. Okay, how are we going to deal with it? You do it from a very, very just position. In other words, it's done according to like the laws, not according to the feelings, like what I think of as like, let's say, the laws of the universe, okay, as opposed to your opinions or your needs, or let's say your conditioning or your fear. In other words, the decisions that you have to make in order for you to prevail are going to be done through universal law, okay, not through opinions or sabotaging yourself or dumbing yourself down or taking other people's needs or circumstances into consideration where you end up compromising yourself and significant others. In other words, I think we're talking about absolute decisions where absolute clarity and disclosure is really, really important, and there's no harm intended from you to others or others to you. To me, it looks like, it's almost like, to me it feels like you're almost bulletproof because of this, okay, and this and this and this. It's just that it's tough, okay? Going through this episode, to me it looks like it's tough, and you will be, let's say, challenged, and you will rise to the challenge, and you will say what has to be said, write what has to be written, do what has to be done, and as it is written, so it is spoken, so it is done, and it will be done in a very just manner. In other words, there is no harm. There is no harm. It's just pure laws of nature being executed, doing what has to be done in order for truth and justice to prevail in your life, in your world. Given what you learn and understand here as it's exposed to you through your emancipation. You will figure it out, especially if you do it in lots of little steps at a time, okay? In other words, don't try and fix everything here in one sweep. Do everything in a very, very business-like manner, like the Capricorn manner, one decision at a time. Think of yourself, put yourself back. You know, the 10th house is ruled by Capricorn for you, so imagine yourself as the CEO of your life, the chairman, the CEO, the CFO, the president of your life, and you make decisions. You make executive decisions, okay? One by one, one by one. Sometimes it involves discussions, but ultimately you are the ultimate decider, and you make the decisions, and it is pretty much guaranteed that what you decide will be just and good and honorable. Okay, and it will be respected and honored and appreciated. Okay, I'm going to pull one last card for you. I hope this reading makes sense. I'm going to do something from the Return to Spirit deck. The idea is to leave you with a message of hope. Okay, so please bear with me. Thank you, Love Triber, for introducing me to this deck. I just saw that on the screen. I got a monitor over here. I'm watching the chat in the moment just as I finish the shuffle, and I saw Truth's Guardian. Hello, Truth's Guardian. Aries is here. Okay, I'm really splitting up this cut, because I want a really pristine reading for you guys. Thank you. So this is going to be your card, Aries. It says here, shifting. Okay, well, I think the shifting is very much to do with the Scorpio energy of transformation early in the month, and the Pluto energy of transformation through all that Capricorn huge blanket that's covering everything. So let's read from this. This is fractal art. It's very dreamy and spacey. It's kind of like a vortex. It's very wild and loose out here, and it goes deep, 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 almost into like an infinity gateway there. Let's have a look. I'm just going to pull this for you. Give me a second. Here it is. I have a sneeze coming up, by the way, so please bear with me in case I do something crazy. I'll do what I can to stop the shock waves from blowing your devices to pieces. It says here, okay, this is for you, Aries. It's like a little, let's round off the meeting here. It says, our personal and spiritual growth occurs in a series of rhythms and patterns. When we reach a certain level of experience and understanding, life will move into a holding pattern as we master it. Things will fall into pattern as we master it. Things will fall into a steady, reliable pattern. We come to know what to expect and how things are going to be. And because we humans are creatures of comfort and habit, we usually enjoy hanging out on the plateau where things are familiar and reliable. This card comes to you today because you are either about to enter into or you are already in one of those great shifts. It is a necessary part of your growth and a higher learning. You are moving to a new level of consciousness and awareness. In order for this to happen, some of the old ways of life and being must fall away to make room for the new. Okay, so this is a situation where this card is really tuned in and hooked in with this whole reading. In order for this to happen, some of the old ways of life and being must fall away to make room for the new. You may find yourself changing jobs or careers. Old friends or relationships may drift away as new people enter your life. You may move to a new home or have a sudden change in finances. On an energetic level, your consciousness is opening to the hidden wounds that you carry. more than likely you are feeling very far out of your comfort zone, possibly even experiencing situational depression. This shift is vital and necessary. Remain calm as you can while the earth shakes under your feet. You will find yourself quite pleased with this new consciousness and way of being once this shift is complete, and it will be completed. In the meantime, try to stay open as these changes occur. It may not feel comfortable, but you will come through this as a more evolved and stable person. Wow. Okay, from my perspective, this card kind of encapsulates everything that we talked about here. I'm not going to go and repeat everything. You can watch bits and pieces you can if you want through the action replays, but I'd like to leave it at that. And I want to bless you all for being here and hanging out. I think we've covered it. I hope it all makes sense to you. I'm going to check in personally, dear Aries. Where are you? Stay there. Okay, hello. Hello, Aries. Wow. That was a hell of a reading, huh? So, change is inevitable. I can see it very clearly on the astrodoodles there. It might not show up in the way that a lot of people do their astrology, but I see it because I'm looking at it from the broad perspective. A huge stellium at the beginning of the month in Scorpio. The blanket of the Capricorn energy at the end of the month. And the Sagittarius fresh air for you in the middle, okay? So you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay, but there is a shifting, okay? Go, Aries. Go, Aries. You can handle it. You can do this, okay? Thank you very much. I'm not going to get too involved in the theatrics of all of this. Let's go back. Let's take care of you. Okay, I'm going to pack it up and we're going to move on and we're going to do another reading in a little while. I need a bit of time to recover and some sustenance, and I'll be back a little bit later this evening and we'll see how we go. I'm going to put on a little tune for us while we unwind. I want to let some of you guys check out and check in and check out with each other, and we'll go to it from there. Let's see what happens, okay? I'll see you guys soon, okay? Bye-bye.